Later this month, on April 18th, San Francisco will remember the 120th anniversary of the great 1906 earthquake. Now, I mention this because tonight's gospel tells us about another earthquake, the earthquake the morning of the resurrection. It is a detail mentioned only by St. Matthew's gospel, which also is the only gospel to mention that the earth shook at the death of Jesus as well. It is as if St. Matthew is trying to impress on those who would hear his gospel that the death and resurrection of Christ are not ordinary events. These events have cosmic repercussions. The very earth shudders at what has happened. But the earthquake of life is greater than the earthquake of death. In spite of the strong guards who were at the tomb to make sure nothing strange happened, the stone which sealed Christ's tomb was moved back by an angel who shone with the brilliance of lightning. Human plans are never a match for God's designs. St. Matthew adds a curious detail to his account of the events surrounding Easter morning. Not only was the stone rolled away from the entrance to the tomb, but the angel sat on it. It is as if the tomb of death became a throne upon which the glory and splendor of God could be seen. And I think there's a bit of humor at this detail. The tomb becomes a throne for God's heavenly messenger. There is even irony about the angel's words. The woman were looking for Jesus the crucified, but the angel tells them that Jesus has been raised, something the women did not quite expect. And as they run from the tomb, they actually encounter the risen Lord, who repeats to them words so often spoken in Scripture: do not be afraid. Now, do not be afraid. Those are words easier said than done, given all that happened 2,000 years ago. And even today, we all have fears. Whether it is a fear of the dark, a fear of heights, a fear of germs, a fear of other things. But tonight, our faith tells us not to be afraid. We need not be afraid because God is with us. We need not be afraid because Christ is alive. We need not be afraid because sin and death have been conquered. Now, moments of fear can blind us to the power and presence of God in our lives and in our world. We do live in a world that some days is quite frightening. We do live in a world filled with darkness. We do live in a world with many tombs. We do live in a world in which the earth quakes for us, physically and metaphorically. But this night we are told, do not be afraid. This night we are filled with the radiance of Christ's light, which, like that angel at the tomb, would seem as bright as lightning in a darkened sky. This night we are reminded that the tomb that held the Lord of life and love is empty because Christ has been raised. That tomb has been transformed into a throne of glory. This is the night when we too can imitate that radiant angel and sit on the stones that have kept us locked up in our tombs, whatever they may be. This is the night when we are told, do not be afraid, no matter what kind of earth-shaking events we have experienced. This is the night when we proclaim that Christ is risen, that Christ is truly alive in our world and also in our lives. Slava Jezus Aristu.